Hi there. This is a slightly weird Advent to Code video today, because 2 days ago I only beat part one, then yesterday I failed to beat any part, and then today, the friggin' OBS didn't record properly. So, I want to show you through exactly what the question was and how I did it. The input gives you a long string that's essentially a lookup table, a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. for something we're going to look up in the future, and then an array. In this case, the array is absolutely massive. It's 100 by 100. Cool. Then it says it is that array plus an infinite number of zeros afterwards. Essentially, the hashes are ones and the dots are zeros. What it wants you to do is it wants you to, every step, for every single element on the entire table, look up the 9 values next to it. So kind of like Game of Lifey. And then convert it into binary, and then turn that binary into a number, and then you look up that number on the lookup table to see what the actual thing is. So, yeah. I did the first part ridiculously quickly. Like, ridiculously freaking quickly today. I did it 220th. I did it very fast, and I had the next part incredibly fast as well, but this is a little deceptive. I want to show you why this is deceptive. Because I actually could have gotten top 100 here, or not actually quite top 100, but pretty well, and Excel had a poop on me. So, and I want to see if I can get it on video too. So, what did I do? Well, I'll show you, because this is the second time I had to do this. Because I had another spreadsheet do this that crashed and I lost all my data. So, what I did is I realized this is going to ask us to do like 50 iterations. I guessed 50, I ended up being correct, and I only gave myself a buffer for 50 originally. This is now a buffer of 100, just to make sure, because the reason why it crashed is because I only gave myself a buffer of 50, and I needed to be slightly higher than a buffer of 50. Because a buffer of 50 was technically only a buffer of 49, because I have another trick here. So, this is my working input. Here's the issue with the whole program. This is what it looks like way in the infinite spaces. But the very first letter in the decode, the very first decode value is a hash, which means the infinite space will alternate between dead and alive over and over again. So what I did is I said the outer ring, just assumed that it goes on infinitely. Because I only have to do 50 iterations, I can fudge the outer ring and it's fine. And I just make the outer ring and just say, yep, it looks up on the table correctly, and then everything else looks accordingly. This value will look at the 9 that's around it, including itself, and then pop on the table and everything. These guys on the outer ring don't, and they just act as the infinite pool and works otherwise. And then you just drag across. I pasted this so that it was centered right in the middle, dragged across, and it worked. Here was my issue, and here is why it took so long to do part 2, where it should have only taken maybe 2 or 3 minutes, instead it took 15. I want to see if I can do this right now and just kind of show you, because I did it pretty much the exact same way. I realized, oh crud, because I only had a buffer of 50, the second to last element here had a dot, which meant, crud, it's going to bleed, and it's not going to give me the right value. So I had to add another row. So instead of saying, let me just modify this and add the row, because it doesn't matter, what I did is I did this. I added a row. I insert clicked and I added a row. The problem is that there is, right now, about 3,000 independent functions all looking at all those values. But each of them are looking at 3 of those values. And since all those values now became blank, you're going to have a lot of problems now with a bunch of recalcs. This hanged for about 7 minutes before I just said, let's just kill it, and then restart it again. I did this very quickly. I was very proud of myself. And then I went to look to OBS, and it just wasn't recording, and it didn't record successfully. I clicked the button, it said recording, did my thing, looked back, wasn't recording, don't have any recording of it. Don't know what happened. But yeah, today's was successful. I did the question very, very quickly, and I'm the first in my group to do so, I believe. I don't think anybody else has in either of my leaderboards. Yep, first there. Ooh, I don't know if I was the first today. I don't know how to look up. I don't know how to look up if I was the first one today. Nope, don't know how to look it up. But I'm also not going to bother because, hey, it's done. It's correct. I finished. I had a really good individual time. It really just is a shame how I went from like 220 and I could have maybe had like 200-ish, maybe even less, because I just dragged across essentially. Because I built for this eventuality, expecting this to be the part 2, so I get a really good time. And then, by the way, this is still not working. This is still crashing. I shouldn't get that. Day 19, still haven't actually completed. Day 18 took me 5 hours to get even part 1 done. And then part 2 is just a big NO for me. I have to redo part 19 because I spent 3 hours conceptualizing and couldn't get it functioning. But I do want to be able to upload my part 1 for part 18 for day 18 at some point, and then maybe continue on my part 19 and refactor that. But I currently am down 3 parts, but this is really resurging my score for this year. I'm pretty happy with that. That's, you know, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know, I will take 12 top thousands. That's not too bad. Not too shabby. I wonder if I can push that to 15, because if all the other days are like this, that's just such a good Excel program in general to work off of. So, yeah, this is an example of a day where planning ahead fixes a lot of my stuff. And then I completely effed it up by, you know, everything being broken. Anyways, cheers.